They thought canning me would bury their little family favoritism scandal forever. They were dead wrong. My name is Ethan Caldwell. 48. 18 relentless years poured into building Helix Dynamics from a scrappy garage project into a $750 million powerhouse. And at 8:04 on a crisp Thursday morning, it all ended with 4 quiet words from the man in the corner office. Ethan, we're letting you go. No build-up. No performance review. Just the clean surgical strike CEO Marcus Vail had clearly rehearsed. I'd walked in expecting the usual deep dive on Helix, the predictive engine I'd single-handedly architected, battle-tested through 3 recessions and 4 major pivots. Instead I found Marcus standing beside his nephew, 24-year-old influencer/visionary Ryder Vail, phone already recording for the inevitable TikTok victory lap. Ryder's heading product innovation now, Marcus announced, like he was handing over house keys. You'll onboard him. Show him the ropes. Start simple, maybe explain what an API even is. The room smelled of expensive cologne and fresh betrayal. 18 years. 3 million lines of battle-scarred code. 57 patents. Sleepless nights that saved the company from bankruptcy twice. I'd turned down 8-figure buyouts from Meta and Snowflake to stay. Loyalty, I'd called it. Marcus called it replaceable. I felt the familiar squeeze in my chest, the mortgage that still had 7 years left, the monthly checks that kept my ex, Claire, afloat after the chemo bills, the quiet promise I'd made to fund my son Noah's master's in computational neuroscience. But I also felt something colder. Clearer. I'm afraid I'll have to pass, I said, voice steady. The Meridian merger closes in 9 days. $500 million on the line. That needs my full bandwidth. Marcus's smile thinned to a razor edge. Ryder is the future, Ethan. Family is the future. I met his gaze. Then let the future debug the authentication layer. At 3 a.m. when Tokyo goes dark. 37 seconds later, security was summoned. The walk to my desk felt like crossing a graveyard of memories. The all-nighter we pulled when the first paying customer signed, the champagne when we hit unicorn status, the framed thank you note from the nonprofit whose disaster relief predictions saved thousands. I packed slowly, methodically, and at the bottom of the bottom drawer, behind old conference lanyards, I found the matte black thumb drive that had lived there like a sleeping sentinel for 4 years. Not stolen code. Not trade secrets. Original incorporation papers for Caldwell Forge LLC. Every foundational Helix patent assigned there first. Licensing rights granted to Helix Dynamics. Conditional on my continued active employment. A kill switch disguised as paperwork. Ryder appeared in the doorway, designer hoodie, phone still rolling. Uncle Mark says leave the passwords. And don't take anything cute. I gave him the smallest nod. You'll need more than passwords, kid. You'll need layer 0. He blinked. Layer what? I shouldered my box and walked. The elevator dinged at the lobby. 8:12 a.m. outside, the city roared on, indifferent. In my 12-year-old Subaru, bought after the divorce stripped the Audi, I opened the laptop. Not the company one. The personal fortress that still answered to credentials Marcus had never known existed. Helix admin console bloomed on the screen. Layer 0, standby. Employment trigger, terminated. License heartbeat expires, 8:34 a.m. Grace period, 90 minutes. One elegant line of logic I'd written in 2021, during the worst month of my life, when lawyers were bleeding me dry and I refused to let my son's future become collateral damage. No malice. Just consequences. I typed the activation phrase. The timer began. At 9:22 a.m., I sat in the 23rd floor conference room of Vanguard Partners, the very firm Marcus had been wooing for the $750 million acquisition. Lena Chan, their managing director, didn't smile when I walked in. She simply slid a folder across the glass. We pulled the chain of title an hour ago, she said. Every core patent lists Caldwell Forge as the original assignee. Helix has been renting. I laid out the plan. Not revenge. Reconstruction. A new venture, Forge Helix. Vanguard seed at $180 million upfront. I bring the architecture. I bring the 12 engineers who actually wrote the heart of the system. Ironclad ethical charter, no behavioral manipulation, no military contracts, no data harvesting for profit. And full public transparency about who built the tech, and who tried to gift wrap it for a TikTok star. Lena studied me for a long beat. Announcement timing? I checked my watch. 9:29 a.m. Right about now. Across town, Marcus's grand demo was reaching its climax. Massive screens glowed. Executives leaned forward. Ryder grinned for the livestream. Then every display stuttered. Froze. A single polite message appeared. License verification required. Contact Coldwell Forge LLC. Session terminated in 00:47. The room went deathly quiet. Back on the 23rd floor, Lena's tablet chimed with the first press alert. My phone stayed silent. I had already turned it off. 18 years ended at 8:04. A better story began at 9:30. And this time, the name on the door would be mine.